just seems like it just, maybe I'm of that generation. It just seems entertainment is dying, doesn't it? It's kind of like middle America dying. And I was thinking back in the day, when I was a young kid, trying to work my way through college, and I had taken a job at a local motorcycle shop when I was 18 or 19. And the people and the owner were like family to me. And some other odd jobs that I had at that time in my life. I lived in an area just north of Los Angeles. It's now called the Santa Clarita Valley, but when I was living there at the time, it was called Newhall, and little towns. Newhall and Valencia and Saugus and Canyon Country. And they're now all combined into one city called the Santa Clarita Valley, which I lamented that they changed the name. And every little job that I had taken in those days, the people were like family. I can't explain it. It was just a different world. You know, they talk all the time about big corporations destroying middle America. I don't see that. What I see as the destruction of middle America is how we treated each other and employees. For a short summer, one summer in between jobs, I worked in the accounting department at a farm, a family farm. You know, it was owned by a family. It was an operation of, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100 employees. They were the manufacturers of these baby carrots. They were called Bunny Love carrots. And if I remember right, the name of the family was the Jurasek family. And I just was like a bookkeeper, really. I wasn't really an accountant. I was just basically helping them keep the books, total up the numbers, calculate, give the total. You just grunt work for accounting work. And I worked in an office with two ladies, and they treated me like family. It wasn't a very difficult job, but there were times when, you know, we weren't doing any books, and the family there said, "Hey, why don't you go spend some time with Pablo in the garage, or Marco in the fields?" When I would spend some time working in the processing facility, and he would spend the time in his day showing me how they process these baby carrots, and, you know, whether I would fit in that line. Would you like to work in the line? You can make a little bit more money than in the accounting department. And I said, no, I'm just working here for the summer in between college semesters. And then when I said I had to go back to school, you know, he said, you stay on. Well, we'll keep you. When you come back, you can work maybe evenings or something after classes. I said, no, I'm going, you know, to another city. And the job where I worked in the motorcycle shop, which is the longest one I had, I worked through 3 years of college. I would go to school at night, and I would work full-time during the day to help pay my expenses and buy parts for my car, which I was fixing up. And when I eventually fixed it up, I took it around the country. And I remember coming back after I left for a year during, like, you know, the school year. I went to a 4-year university. And when I came back, I was looking for a job until I set myself up somewhere. And he said, "You want to work here?" He says, "I'll give you $15 an hour." And this was in like 1987. And I said, yeah, I wasn't really looking for a job, but yeah, I could use the money, and I would only be able to work for you for about, 3-4 months. He goes, "That's okay." And he asked me what my plans were. And I said I was going to college, and I put up enough money, and my mom and dad had put some money forward. And he goes, you want to get set up in a business? I can help you do that. How many employers do that today? And to me, that's middle America. That's people taking care of each other instead of worrying about donating money to charity or giving all your money in taxes. This was Reagan's California. Ronald Reagan was president, and Ronald Reagan had been governor before he became president. It was just a different world. And people took care of each other and looked out for one another. And it's not like that anymore. My experience in large corporations and small today, in recent memory, has been completely the opposite. You're nothing more than a cog in the machine. Your value was only as whatever you were doing for them for that week. And I had no real relationship or friendships with the people I work with. Very, very little. Very few. The insurance work and financial work were kind of, but it wasn't like back then. I remember there was a mechanic, motorcycle mechanic. He had a Pontiac GTO. And on the weekend, he says, I'm putting a new motor in. You want to come out to the house and help me? I said, sure. We spent all weekend lowering a new 389 into his goat. And that's how we spent summer, a weekend. And then I'd come out every now and then and give him a hand, when the bigger stuff where he couldn't do it by himself. And they were like family to me. I didn't think twice about helping. He didn't think twice ever about helping me. And the owners didn't think twice about fronting me money if I wanted to start a business or give me money to pay, which was unheard of in 1887 for what I was doing, which was just, retail work. And I said to myself, that's middle America. The entertainers of the period lived in that Santa Clara Valley. And Rockford Files was filled in the streets around where I worked. And you just don't see it anymore. Everyone's so in love with themselves and the narcissism. And I don't know if it changed in the 90s and really accelerated after 2000. I don't know if it's the advent of social media, but it seems to me that people are meaner, more selfish, more narcissistic. And nobody wants to put in a hard day's work anymore. I work like an animal for them, and not because they paid me, but because I wanted to. I was there at 5, 6 a.m. when they opened the day on the show. When they had shows at the store, I would always be the first in line to work the early shift. And little foibles that potentially could get you in trouble in another job today was like jokes among you, your friends. It's like, you shouldn't have done that, Dom. That was stupid. I'll fix it. Or you can work extra on the weekend to fix this thing that you broke or something like that. Today, it's like it has to be documented, it has to be written down. You made this offensive comment to this person and they're offended, and it's just a different world. And I don't know if that's a factor of time, but that mentality is what we've lost here in America. And I can't really put my finger on when or why or how. But now the world is full of Samantha Bees. Everyone looking to stick it to somebody. Anyway, we've got to move on. It crossed my plate because I was just thinking, what it was like back then. And just it seemed like it was a different world, And maybe it was. Maybe it was a different country back then. But that family feeling that you get from fellow Americans, and there were people of all different races and sexes in that building, it's just gone. We just don't look at each other that way anymore. I think of all the things that we've lost over the last 30 years, from the economy to the laws to government. That's the one I lament the most. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about Nancy Pelosi going to China. We'll be right back after this brief message.